Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. Good to see you again. This week's episode, I'm actually out of town, so I'm recording this a few week or so out from when this will release, but there is actually no video for this one for my guest this week. He was having some problems with his computer, but I'll still put it on YouTube. But if you're watching on YouTube, I apologize. There's no guest video this week. However, it is a really good episode. This week, I sit down with Dan Pickar from Eastman's Elevated and Beyond the Grid TV. He's a killer hunter. He does a lot of work with Brian Barney out there with Eastman's, and he produces the Beyond the Grid TV series on YouTube, which is an awesome series. And so, Eastman's has tons of great stuff that they're doing, including Eastman's Tag Hub, which I've been using a little bit and excited to tell you guys more about that. But for now, enjoy this episode with Dan. He actually did give me a couple tips in this episode. He's a big time bow hunter, and I'm actually, when this releases, I'll be in Arizona bow hunting. And so he actually gave me a couple tips to make some kind of last minute tweaks to my archery setup that actually really tightened up my groups considerably in a short amount of time. So stick around for that if you're interested. But it's just a good conversation about bow hunting and kind of a lot of different things. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you on the next episode. Yeah, I'm here with my guest today, Dan Pickar from Eastman's. How you doing, brother?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. I've been looking forward to this. I've seen a lot of y'all's stuff on Beyond the Grid TV, and I connected with Scott Reekers. Is it Reeker or Reekers? I always mess that up.
Yeah, it's Reekers with an S.
Okay, yeah. So we did a podcast together a couple weeks ago, and it's just maybe a week or two ago, and he suggested, he asked if anybody else at Eastman's would be cool to talk to. And I said, well, I already talked to Brian, but I'd love to talk to Dan. So it's good to set something up. Thanks, man.
Yeah, heck yeah. My pleasure. I always love getting on and chatting, and you just never know where these conversations go. So that's the fun of it.
Yeah, man. So are you in Wyoming?
Yeah. Yep. I'm here at the main office. We're outside Cody, Wyoming, 20 miles.
Okay. Nice, man. I just hunted for the first time ever out there this year. I was in the unit between, Casey and, I guess it was between Casey and Cody. No, Casper and Casey.
Oh, sure. Yeah, out east there.
Yeah, we were doing an antelope hunt, so that was fun. But
Nice.
Wyoming's an awesome place, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's lots of opportunity here and a fair amount of public land to get out there and enjoy it. So can't complain.
Yeah, are you from out there?
I'm actually from Northwest Montana.
Okay.
I grew up in Columbia Falls outside Glacier Park. So
Gotcha.
up there, I mean, we're pretty close to Canada, and it's just like a jungle, kind of opposite from down here with the desert.
Wide open. Yeah. Well, have you been following the corner hopping court case and all that going on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Man, I'm all about for opening public lands and all this public property that's basically landlocked because of corners.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of issues that would cause. It's funny. I talked to a guy, which he has some outfitter buddies up in Montana, several, and some of his contacts, ranchers, they're not contacts. I mean, they're rancher neighbors of them.
Yeah.
That are participating in the block management program up in Montana. And this whole corner crossing push, it's all through basically BHA, and they had some guys on their property that had BHA stickers, and now they're pushing this corner crossing thing. And so they're pulling out of the block management program. They're fed up with it. And of course, the landowners, the private guys are against it for a multitude of reasons, which I'm sure everybody knows.
Yeah.
So I think there's good and bad to it. For me, it would be nice to be able to corner cross on some of these areas. It would open up
Yeah.
a lot, and I think ultimately it should be legal. But there's always going to be those unintended effects or consequences that
Sure.
we aren't seeing right now that's going to affect us negatively. So yeah, it's a tough one, but I'm for it ultimately.
Yeah, it's always been kind of a I know it's always been kind of a gray area, and I guess it'll be good, either way to kind of have a definitive answer. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because I mean, several years ago, well, several decades ago, 30 years ago, there was a court case on it,
Hmm.
saying that the precedent has already been set; it's not legal. But there's a lot of people that think it's legal. There's a lot of people that think it's illegal, and I've even heard of game wardens in certain areas and states that won't they won't ticket you for it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of misinformation out there, or just mixed information, so should I say, out there. So
Right.
it'd be nice to have clarity,
Yeah.
you know, statewide and west nationwide, really.
Yeah. For sure, man. So yeah, so you mentioned you're from Montana, and just for folks that may not know much about you, I'd love to just hear a little bit about your backstory and just how you got it linked up with Eastman's, maybe even how you got into filming and stuff like that. I'd be interested to hear all that. So kind of what's your story, man?
Yeah, I started really young. I was lucky that I came from a hunting family. My dad hunted when he was a kid and into his adult life in Colorado, and then we moved to Montana in 1990. And I man, I was on my first deer hunt when I was 3 years old with dad, and
Nice.
caught my first fish when I was one and a half or whatever with dad. And so it's just been kind of my life. It's been a lifestyle. It's been the norm ever
Yeah.
since the beginning. And we did it a lot growing up. We always antelope hunted. We always deer hunted. My dad wasn't as much of an elk hunter. We shot some cow elk growing up,
Yeah.
but deer and antelope hunting, that was our life. That's the norm. And we were always into, watching hunting videos and all of Gordon Eastman stuff growing up and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And so that kind of, fueled my passion, or is where it started for me to want to video our own adventures growing up, just,
Gotcha.
watching all these shows and be like, hey, we can do that. And, we can have a memory. And I thought video was so cool back then, once we started with those high 8 tapes and then
Yeah.
mini DV, the Palm cameras.
Oh yeah.
And we tried to get all the latest and greatest of the time in the early 90s and the late 90s. And so dad was always into it and let us video
That's cool.
so yeah, I think just starting at a young age really got my feet wet and fueled the fire. And it was something that I never really thought about. That's the funny thing is, sometimes people ask me like, well, as a kid or as a teenager, you knew you were going to get into filming when you're older? And it's like, nah, not really. I mean, I never thought I would be, somebody lucky enough to do this and, get paid for it or be on the
Yeah.
hunt show. I never really thought that way.
Yeah.
And in high
It's kind of a
school,
crazy dream, huh?
yeah, it is. It is. You're like, I would never be lucky enough to be in that situation or that scenario, or how do you get into it? In high school, I was like, I'm going to be a game warden when I grow up, so I can be out in the woods and hunting all fall and dealing with all that.
Right.
And obviously that perspective changed a little bit as I got older, and I job shadowed for a game warden. And I was like, actually, you don't get to do any hunting in
Yeah.
the fall.
You're busy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, after college, I went to college. I got a 4-year degree, and then I still really didn't have a clear direction on what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I majored in political science with a minor in media arts.
Hmm.
So I still did video work. I wasn't sure that I wanted, to go into broadcasting or media in that regard, but I still learned some of the necessities to, produce something and edit video and a lot of the basics.
Yeah.
But still, I had no idea I'd be, working for Eastman's 4 years later. I had absolutely zero idea. So I ended up uh, becoming a hunting guide out of
Oh,
college.
cool.
And so I worked on a ranch in southern Wyoming, south of Bozeman, Montana. And I did that for a few seasons. And then I started branching out more and working and just really filling up my schedule guiding wise from September through the end of general rifle season in Montana, which is the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And worked for some other outfitters and yeah, just did more and more and more. And one year I was working for a ranch outside of Norris, Montana, and we had a fill-in guide for 1 week. I don't know if you're familiar with outfitters and guides, and it can
Not a
kind of
lot.
be a goat rope a lot of years with guides not showing up and somebody can't do this, and so we got to need a fill-in. There's always moving parts that are hard to coordinate, and so yeah, we had this fill-in guide for a week, and he ended up Jordan Brashears. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's been
Sounds
on the
familiar,
show.
but not really.
Yeah, he's been on the show and stuff on Outdoor
Okay.
Channel and whatnot. But he was writing for Eastman's at the time, and this was 2013, 2012, 2012. He was writing for Eastman's at the time, and we guided together for I think 2 weeks. That he was filling in for the outfitter buddy, and he was like, "Man, Guy and Ike, they said I could do some bow hunting for the TV show next year, and I just had to find a camera guy." And he's like, "Man, I think you'd be perfect for it if you want to film." And I was like, "Heck yeah!" And so that's kind of how it all started. Was just at the outfit I was guiding at, meeting Jordan, and
Nice.
got into it that way. The next fall, we filmed a bunch of TV shows, and they brought me down here that next spring to work full time. So
Cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about kind of having the dream and the passion in you to do it, and sort of having to go around your elbow to get your rear end or whatever. Because I feel like a lot of times people do that. Like we have this dream. I've done it myself. You have a dream and something, you kind of talk yourself out of it. Like, no, that's too good to be true. No, I could never do that. Some of us, like you, are lucky enough to like come back to it and get back there. But a lot of people, I feel like, just live their whole lives never trying what they really want to do and like just going after it because they talk themselves out of it before they even try.
exactly. You're your own worst enemy when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, people ask me all the time, like, how did you get a job, or what can I do, or what's the thing to do, where can I send my resume? And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's all fine and dandy to send resumes in, but you just usually aren't going to just send a resume in and get
Right.
hired to go work for a company and bow hunt and stuff. And I also want to stress too that bow hunting for TV or for YouTube or whatever we do, it's just a small fraction of my job.
Right.
If I didn't have some of these other skill sets that I learned in college, or survival skills from Boy Scouts, I mean, there's still a lot of other things that I didn't know would prepare me for this job, and it did through my whole life. I probably wouldn't have this job.
For sure.
And so it's not that easy. And I would say the biggest thing is it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? With
Absolutely.
anything. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. But what I tell people is if it's something you're passionate about, find a way to do it. And that's become a guide is probably the easiest way to get your feet wet and be in the industry.
Yeah.
Try to find somebody that'll give you a chance and just do it as much as you can. It's just like anything else. If you want to be good at something, you need to do it hands-on as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. You got to just jump in there and start sometimes. You don't always have to wait for someone to give you a job or whatever. Sometimes you just got to just start.
Yep.
However that looks.
You have to have the gumption. And we're so lucky now because if you want to try to figure out how to do something, or maybe you're not sure, I mean, you can go onto YouTube and look up on how to do it.
You can basically get a college degree on YouTube for free.
You can. And in the 90s, like when I was learning archery and how to tune a bow, I mean, I had to do some reading, and I got onto archerytalk.com, and that helped me too. But a lot of it was trial and error. I
Yeah.
just had to go do it and like, okay, why is my arrow shooting crooked? And so like as far as tuning a bow, I had to go figure it out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, I wasted a lot of time, but I learned the ins and outs and really got proficient at it. And so it's just that hands-on experience. If you want something bad enough, you just have to put the time in to do it, and you can do it. The only thing that's stopping you is yourself these days.
100%, man. Yeah, I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything, but like that's kind of like with starting this podcast and stuff that I've been trying to do is, I had a full-time job doing something else, but I wanted to get into this world, and I figured a podcast would be kind of a good way to just get my foot in the door and start. And so it's been really cool, seeing how things have progressed over this past year and where they're headed. But it's so much like that whole thing is so much like bow hunting itself too. It's like, I was talking to a guy yesterday doing a podcast, and he was saying he used to talk himself out of going on stalks so many times, like, oh, they're too far, or I'll never make it, or whatever. Sometimes you just got to be aggressive and just realize, hey, I might blow this stalk or whatever, but I'm just going to get out there and try it. You're not going to kill it from the glassing knob.
Yep.
It's so much like bow hunting. It's one of those lessons you can almost learn from bow hunting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I was going to say, I joke about, but it's true. There's a lot of lessons in bow hunting that you can apply to everyday life that will make you a better person. It's amazing. Or maybe not just a better person, but more efficient in what you do in life and how you spend time and your patience, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just to start. So yeah, there's a lot of positivities that you can, you know, extract from bow hunting and apply that to everyday life.
Yeah, for sure, man. So how was your 2021 season, man? Did you have a good season?
Yes, I did. It was really good. Probably one of my best years that I
Awesome.
had. I didn't have any antelope tags this year, but
Okay.
deer and elk. Man, what a great season! My wife drew some tags, some buddies drew some tags, and yeah, I killed 2 bulls. My wife killed a bull. Yeah,
Nice.
my buddies all killed bulls. We killed between my Wyoming bull and my wife's bull and my 2 buddies' bulls. We killed 4 bulls over 340.
Whoa,
So that
nice,
was,
dude.
yeah, it was awesome. I really can't complain.
Did you get them all
Um,
on film too?
yes, yep, they'll all be beyond the grids, giant public land elk. It's
That's
what
sick.
we're striving for, and I love it. It's my passion. I love elk. I love everything about elk, and I love spending time out there. And I'm just lucky enough
Yeah.
to have that time to do it because once again, you just got to spend the time out there to really understand, what the prey is that they're doing, and that's just it takes time, plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I went on my first elk hunt this year. I wasn't hunting, I was filming for Dan Elk Shape, and I was following him around for like 8 days. We were in a really tough unit and a bunch of crazy stuff went down, but the last day we finally like snuck in bow range, of a big, I think he was a 6x6, 5x5 or 6x6. But anyway, and saw him 50 yards bugling. And at that point, I was like, okay, now I get the obsession with archery elk. It's like amazing. It's like, it was like another worldly experience, like seeing that giant, like prehistoric looking thing, like screaming its head off. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And once you have the bug, I mean, you got it for life. It's something that really speaks to you. You'll never you'll always have the desire and the urge to just experience more situations like that.
Yeah, it definitely made sense. So you think is elk your favorite thing to hunt?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Elk. I love axis deer and I love whitetails. Those are my top three. But
Okay.
yeah,
So for the
elk.
axis, is that out in Hawaii?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep. Hawaii, Texas. I still need to get to Texas, but I've been doing it for about a decade now, and it's a trip I do every year, and it kind of reminds me of elk hunting a little bit, but
Mm,
just that vocalization and stalking in on them, and it's a true challenge. So I view it as hunting axis with a bow is if you can successfully hunt axis with a bow, you can hunt anything in the world with a bow. I'm
mm,
convinced that they are one of the wiliest, one of the fastest, one of the hardest animals to kill with a bow and arrow. And it's great cross training for bow hunting, anything else.
What's the what's the time frame on that Hawaii hunt? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you can go anytime. They
Okay.
rut year round.
Hmm.
Um, the main rut time is June, July. I have a hard time going that late because it's summer here, so I hate to go hang out in the tropics in July,
Yeah.
or even hunt during that time frame. So I usually go in the wintertime. They're more velvet, and,
Okay.
not as much rut activity. But yeah, you can. There's
So the
no
hunting's good
tags.
all year round, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's animals, so yeah, you can hunt year round.
Do you usually go with some kind of outfit, or do you go public land, or what's your strategy on that?
Yeah, I go all private now. I've been doing it for quite a while, and have some contacts and some great friends over there, and have access to some ranches over there. So most of the hunting, especially the good hunting, is all private. So
Mm,
that's, I guess, the only hurdle.
yeah.
Um, Goats and pigs probably is your only public land option that's viable. Probably goats is the big one
Right.
that is accessible to the public. Other than that, most of the hunting over there is private.
Yeah. And I know the airfare would probably be pretty expensive getting over there, but as far as if you didn't have the contacts but you wanted to set something up, is it a pretty expensive hunt or is it fairly affordable or
Yeah, I mean it's expensive if you go with an outfitter.
yeah.
Um, the places I go, they're just friends, so they just let me
Gotcha.
go. But yeah, the airfare is expensive. But I know on some of the nicer places, where they're killing 30-inch bucks. I mean, you're paying a premium for it, so it's
Totally.
expensive. I think like Texas is honestly probably a better option if you were to go with an outfitter and you wanted to kill a solid buck. I
Yeah.
mean, I think you can go down there and shoot a couple for $1,500 on like a good ranch. So
Nice.
as you know, Texas is almost private as well.
Yeah.
So for cost effectiveness, Texas, I go to Hawaii because my friends and the access I have there. Otherwise, I'd probably just go to Texas.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's definitely a hunt I'd like to do someday. Have you ever done the Arizona archery over the counter Coos mule deer thing in January?
I never have. I never have. I've kind of looked at it over the years. It's never really got me that fired up, for whatever reason. I don't know. Who's deer? Just little animals with antlers.
Yeah.
Not that antlers matter. I mean, I really enjoy javelina hunting. I
Yeah,
do that with my dad and family, and it's a great uh, time to be down in the desert with the family. But
for
to
sure.
kill just little bucks doesn't really get me too fired up. So I've never really done it,
Yeah.
and it's kind of one of those things too. You can only do so many. I do axis every year, and I'll do some other pig hunts and spring bear, and then my fall's so busy. So
For
I
sure.
try to pick and choose, and I got to spend time with the family too. So
No, I get that. You
yeah,
definitely got to prioritize, man.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's just prioritizing, and I know a lot of guys that do it in January and go bow hunt coos and mule deer down there, and it's a great way to get out of the winter weather, and
Yeah,
great challenge, of course. And coos deer, from what I've heard, they're one of the hardest animals as well to kill with a
I've
bow,
heard.
like axis. So yeah, it'd be a great challenge, and I will do it someday.
Yeah.
Mark my words on that. I need to do it.
Yeah, I asked because I'm headed down there in January, the first time, and so everyone I've been talking to lately, I've been trying to pick their brain on if they've done it before. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, the areas that I've been javelina hunting, it's been pretty sparse for deer. I mean, I have seen bucks, but it hasn't been quite good enough for me to buy a
Yeah.
deer tag and go do it. I was thinking about it this year since I have javelina tags this year,
Oh, nice.
but we actually have a ham hunt with my dad and my wife, so that's in February. So it's after the archery season, so I'm probably gonna. Well, I will miss the archery down there, but one of these years it will line up.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. Um, so you mentioned spring bear. You're a big time spring bear guy, huh?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I grew up in Montana doing it, and as a guide too, did some guided hunts for spring bear. Such a fun time to get out there. I've seen and had some of the coolest encounters in the spring with elk and deer and bears, of course, but elk and velvet and
Yeah.
cows, cow elk starting to calve and stuff. And so you just get to see things that you normally wouldn't in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just if you love the outdoors, it's kind of a must do type of deal time of year. And usually the weather's nice and everything's green. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking to try to put together my first spring bear hunt this year. Do you do mainly Montana, or you kind of switch it up every year, or what's like? Do you have a go-to state?
Oh yeah, Montana. There's just more bears there. I do hunt in Wyoming every year, and Wyoming can be good. It's a little more difficult to find bears. Everybody can bait here. I don't usually bait. I did sit on a bait this last year with my wife to try to get her a bear.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm not the bait type. I like getting out there and hiking and running around and stuff. So
Yeah.
Montana is where it's at for that. But usually every 2 or 3 years, I'll kill a bear in Wyoming, get lucky enough to find one and stalk in on it. But the
Yeah.
density just isn't here, in the northern part of Wyoming and north central, northeast is just not a ton of them.
Yeah.
So I
What what kind of type areas do you like to key in on looking for those bears, or in your e-scouting? Like what are the type of areas that stand out to you for those?
Yeah, that's a tough one because just like elk, the spring bears, you kind of find them where you find them.
Hmm.
But I always like those green pockets, north faces, that green up, and it that type of grass. It'll stand out to you. It'll be, I call it nuclear green, like it's just
Yeah.
greener than the rest of the green out there.
Yeah.
The pockets of green that might be partly shaded or in the shade where they don't get burned off. The last couple of years, it seems like it's been a little tough where the slopes that are south facing or in direct sunlight, they get burned off pretty quick. So your
Hmm.
your window of bears hitting those open slopes is pretty small. It's been pretty early in May, and some of the shaded stuff or the stuff that's a little more mosaically burned. I like burned areas too. That's areas
Yeah.
that aren't nuked, but just enough for a lot of that vegetation, and there's some shade, so it's not getting beat by the sun all day. That's the type of habitat that I feel like bears stick to that stuff for a longer duration than they do, on the slopes that get burned off quick.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess elevation wise, you still kind of find them where you find them. Most of the bigger bears like to den up high on north faces, so I do check the high country. I will check snow line for bears just coming out of their dens in the middle of May time frame. And the middle of May up high, I mean, it's still pretty wintry up there.
Yeah. I bet.
So, it sounds kind of late in the year, but a lot of those bigger bears are the last ones to come out in the springtime. I've killed my biggest bear was June 9th, and it was on the
Oh,
north
nice.
face, right below a big scree slope and some cliffs and stuff. I'm sure he had a den right up in there, and he was just right below that denning area in this really rich green pocket park. And I think these older bears that get that size to them, they figure it out. They have it figured out where they have a program. They're like, okay, I'm gonna den here because I know in the springtime this is gonna give me the best feed. Like they want to
Yeah.
be there in the springtime. I think they have it figured out in that regard. Whereas like littler bears, you just kind of find them where you find them. I've found them down on the creek, and I found them all the way on top on the slopes. It just takes a little more time for them to get it figured out.
Yeah. They probably key on some of those areas they know they can just roll right out of their den. There's going to be just a salad bar sitting right there for them.
Exactly, exactly. That's why they got that age on them, and that's why they're that big, is because they've found the primo feed all year.
Yeah, man. Um, so I know do you do any rifle hunting, or are you just 100% archery?
Personally, I'm 100% archery. I love rifle hunting. I love guiding people. And when I say guiding now, I don't guide. I don't work for an outfitter, but just family and friends. I love
Sure.
being out there. I love filming. I love taking my wife hunting and my friends. It's just as fun for me to see them experience hunting for the first time, or kill a big bull or whatever it might be, I get the same thrill as I do for hunting for myself.
Yeah.
I'm just at the stage where, for the company, I'm here to bow hunt. There's plenty of guys that rifle hunt. I used to rifle hunt a lot more before Eastman's, but it's fine. It was kind of a good time in my life too, where I was just looking for the next challenge, the next level up, and I was really getting into bow hunting, so it all worked out really well for me. Because that's why I'm here, is for the archery side of things. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, all types of hunting is fun. I love waterfowl hunting.
Okay.
I cut my teeth doing that growing up.
Me too.
Teenage years, and awesome. Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah, that was my dad. Like, that was how he introduced me. Well, first dove hunting, because it's warm and you're out, kind of chill. But yeah, I remember being in a duck blind, probably 4 or 5 years old or something.
Yep. And I think that's goes back to how my dad raised us, is if there was opportunity, and we had the interest, he made sure that it was going to happen, or that we could get out and do it. Because especially at a young age, I think it's so important to really fuel the fire if you have those interests, and not put that fire out. And you see it all the time with kids, where they don't have a chance to get out, or whatever the case may be, and
they
get stuck more on video games or TV or inside stuff. And if kids, that's such a vital time to get them involved in the outdoors, with the hopes that it'll stick with them the rest of their lives.
Yeah, man. You may have mentioned this, but did you say you have kids or no?
Yeah, I do. I have 2 stepkids, a boy, he's 12,
okay,
and girl, she's 9. And then I have a 1-year-old little boy that's,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So he's a lot of fun. And Blake, he's 12. He shot his first cow elk this year.
Nice.
It kind of goes back to, I was thinking about that when you asked me if I rifle hunted, but seeing Blake in on his first elk, there was a nice 6-point bull and 3 cows. Well, there's 2 cows in the yearling, and we got into 50 yards, and that bull bugled. He got to hear an elk bugle for his first time. And he shot his cow elk at 50 yards, frontal straight on. And it went like 10 yards and tipped over. And to see his face after that, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what gets me really fired up. And those type of experiences, it's so cool to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I took my that Wyoming hunt I was talking about. I took my dad, my uncle, and my cousin out there, and they're hunters. My uncle's a pretty serious hunter, but never really gone out west. Always dreamed of it. And my cousin, he's more of kind of a casual hunter. He likes hunting, but he's just he's just not the type of guy to like put in tons of time and effort and research. So I put the whole trip together. I got us in for our draw together. I even helped my cousin get his rifle set up with a new optic and helped him sight it in, and then kind of led the group out there. It was kind of cool because it was the first time like me leading a trip and taking, my dad hunting. He'd taken me hunting for so long. This is the first time I was like taking him out. And so, but yeah, I was able to film and be there with my cousin. He took his first, Western big game animal ever, which was a nice antelope doe, and that was really cool, man. I mean, like you said, I have just as much good, fond memories of that as I was able to fill my tag on a pretty nice buck too. But just putting the whole process together and then watching it come to fruition and getting him on the animal was really special.
Yeah, it's so cool. You can't top experiences like that, even though if you're out there and you do it enough for yourself, you have some pretty awesome experiences. But sharing it with your loved ones or close friends, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure, man. I got to show you. I just got my my buck back. I got to show you. He's not like a monster, but he's a pretty nice little guy.
Oh, heck yeah.
Got a broken, yeah, you got a broken cutter on that one side.
Wow.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. I was stoked on him.
That's a beast, dude. Congrats.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was fun. It was, Yeah, it was cool. I mean, there was a lot of pressure in our unit. Um, like these, so we were driving along and we saw like 7 or 8 antelope on the top of this ridge, and we booked up there, and it was about a mile, and got up there. As soon as we got to the top, I see two guys like getting in a side by side, and I was like, ah, like we're done, like. But we just kind of like stayed put and we're patient and kind of, because we'd seen before the antelope, like they'll take off and then they'll kind of like sometimes circle, like make a big old loop and just kind of come back to the same area.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we did. We just kind of stuck around there. Then we started to sneak in a little bit. Also, those things like we weren't used to, but I'm sure they can disappear in what looks like flat open country. And so we just kind of kept stalking along and saw a doe, and we got down. And then I saw the buck like just stick his head right up over like the top of the little fold, and then we were able to crawl up on him. But it was a really fun hunt, man.
Heck yeah, those antelope hunts like that with family, and physically they're not as challenging as deer elk hunting, as you know, and so that's nice to have a break in that regard too.
Yeah,
but it's amazing, that flat terrain out there, especially bow hunting. I mean,
I can't imagine sneaking up on one of these things with a bow, man. Like, hats off to you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely difficult, but as you saw, I mean, there's more terrain and more cover to work with out there than what you probably initially thought. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, there's, like you said, even like if you look out in an area and it looks flat, there's going to be folds in there that you can actually kind of work to your advantage a little bit. So yeah.
Yep. If you just got to look differently, but that's why it is doable to shoot those guys with a bow and get close to them. Yeah, you do have to wait sometimes for them to get in a good spot where there is more cover.
Yeah.
But it's totally doable, and it's a hoot for sure.
Yeah, man, it'd be tough. Yeah, that was coming off of, that was like pretty much right after that hunt I did with Dan, which was really physical. And then it was nice to, I mean, we did a lot of driving, and then like I think the most we ever walked was like a mile or something away from the road. Which you probably could have walked in more and gotten away from people a little more because we were in an easy draw unit. But it worked out, man. So it was fun.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, that's awesome.
So I did want to ask you a little bit about some bow hunting stuff, because so the county I grew up in was a no rifle county in terms of for whitetail deer hunting. So I grew up bow hunting and didn't know anything about rifles. Then kind of when I started getting into Western hunting, I had a pretty big learning curve and spent the last couple of years really honing in on getting good with a rifle and being able to set it up and that whole thing, which is, there's actually more to it than some people might think. But, so I haven't been bow hunting a whole lot except for around here, whitetail, some. So I'm a little behind, I would say, in terms of my just ability to like, work on my bow myself and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still literally shooting with the same release I've had since I was like 14 years old. Not even exaggerating. It's the same one. So, and it's the same bow. Luckily the bow I got still holds up as a Matthews Switchback XT. Which is a legit bow still. So I haven't really upgraded my bow. I've upgraded pieces and parts here and there, but ever since I found out I'm going in January on this bow hunt, I've been, shooting my bow every day. And I got, I'm pretty good with my field points. I'm still, my broadheads are revealing a little bit of a bad tune. Maybe they're kind of flying funky. But I'm kind of thinking like, especially in terms of like, I thought about getting a new release and all this stuff. And I was like, man, I think with a month before I go out there, it's probably too soon to really make any serious tweaks. But at the same time, I don't want to be just practicing, like hammering in more and more bad habits. So I don't know, are there some like kind of minor things that I could try, or just practice techniques that you might recommend, like in a short amount of time, where I could be, because I noticed one major thing was I noticed that I like by default was like hammering the trigger, just like, pulling it hard. So I've been working on trying to get a smoother release, and that has helped a little bit. But are there some things that you would recommend kind of working on practicing in a short amount of time before I head out there in January?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, does the bow fit you? I mean, your draw
I
length,
think
that you
so.
haven't changed much since you were 14, or
Yeah, I got it. I did go and have the draw length checked, and I got, new strings on it. So it's not been completely untouched or anything like that.
okay,
So it does fit.
okay, yeah, I would say your grip and your release hand are probably the most important things, as long as your draw length is correct. But gripping right, that's probably the number one thing that'll affect your consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as shooting goes, yeah, I always make contact with my finger on the trigger before I pull through, and so you don't like slap your trigger.
Sure.
That's a big one too. Uh, are you talking broadheads aren't shooting great for you, or
Yeah. So
okay,
yeah, that's the main thing I noticed. Like, I'm pretty good with my field points, and I throw my broadheads on. I'm getting some of them flying, like, like doing weird stuff, or they might shoot a little low, or just generally not as good as my field points. And I was actually on the phone with Dan, and I was like, what kind of like broadheads do you recommend? Because my broadheads are all over the place, and it just kind of revealed like how much I need to step up my game this off season in terms of archery. Because he started rattling off like 30 things I need to do and check, and I was like, dude, I don't got time for all that. Like I got like a month. I'm not gonna be like taking my bow apart and like starting from ground zero at this point.
right, right. So what broadheads are you shooting right now?
Right now I just got these, like, it's just the ones I've been shooting forever, is these like three muzzy
Yep.
fixed 3-blade. He recommended I try some Grim Reaper Micro Hades 3-blades. So I ordered a couple of those to try out. But in terms of design, it's very similar to those.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean the broadhead you're shooting there, it's not going to cause you a problem. You're not shooting like a bad broadhead or a big two-blade broadhead that's going to plane bad on you or anything.
Hmm.
So I think your broadheads are fine, but maybe your broadhead tune isn't exactly dialed, so that could be a thing. Um, what's your draw weight and your arrow spine? What arrows are you shooting?
I'm shooting. My draw weight is 70,
Okay,
and I got these gold tip Hunter 340s.
okay. What's your draw length?
Oh man, I I don't even know. I think it's 31.
Okay, so it's pretty long then.
Yeah, I'm like 6 foot. I got pretty long arms. Again, you're just showing how much like work I have to do that I don't know exactly, but I think it's 31.
Yeah, if it's 29, 30, 31, you might be a little weak on your spine. Like a 300 might be better. You don't want to change that now. So
Right.
okay, without redoing everything, I would say
And I do plan, like I said, this off season, one of my like main things is like really dive back into archery and get set up correctly. Like I
yep,
said, I don't want to go changing like everything with a month left to go and be like at ground zero. You know what I mean?
right, right. What I would do if I were you is see if your broadheads will shoot consistently in any way. I mean, will they shoot low of your field tips every time or left of your field tips every time? Have you seen?
Yeah, that's a tough thing. Is like it doesn't seem to be too consistent. Like I would say on the whole, they're shooting low.
Okay.
But like just the other day, I shot one and it was like wiggling all over the place, man. It was weird.
So are those fletchings? Are those factory fletched?
Yes.
So they're probably straight or 1 degree offset at maximum. Spin that just a little more so I can see.
Yeah, it looks. Well, this one got cut by a broadhead, but yeah, it looks like they're just slightly, like at a tilt.
Yeah. So it's probably a 1 degree offset. I would go full helical. I guess that's my next question. Do you have the ability to get those refletched full helical?
Um. Now, I mean, do I have the ability? So can you, is those the kind of thing, like I've used those things before where you like put on the fletch and you dip it in boiling water and it like seals it. Are those
Uh-huh.
legit or is that?
Yeah, I mean, you can do those. Yeah, those are quick. I think Boning actually makes it's called a quick fletch where you can do that and they're helical.
Yeah.
Or you could go to a bow shop and say, "Hey, fletch these up real quick. I just need full helical on
I
them,"
might
and
be
they
able to
can.
do, I might be able to do that.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I were you. And then that way, just with more spin, you'll get way more arrow stability, and then you'll have more consistent broadhead shots, and then you can see from there. Do I need to raise my rest? Do I need to lower my rest or whatever? Because the goal is for those broadheads to group with your field tips, and that's completely doable if your your arrow is set up to fly straight. I mean, you need to make sure you have the right spine first, which you're probably borderline, but it's too soon to switch now. So
Yeah.
I would go to a bow shop and get a dozen of them refletched to full helical. And I
Okay.
think that's going to make a huge difference. It's going to really open your eyes and you're like, wow, my group's just tightened up a ton and my broadheads are way more consistent now.
Cool.
I think that's what I would do given that you have what, a month or less than a month to
Yeah.
your hunt.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good, man. What type of release do you shoot?
I shoot it's the True Ball short and sweet, the S2. It's a second gen one. Uh, it's a hook style release.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like single caliper. Uh, I don't like dual caliper. Single caliper releases are good, but this is a hook style. Just less wear and tear on your string loop,
Gotcha.
and
And is
it
it
has a.
a thumb release or?
Nope. I'm an index finger guy.
Okay.
I've had this conversation with Brian and Levi Morgan, and basically Levi told me if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I haven't had target panic. I haven't had any issues. I'm plenty effective in the field, so I've never made the switch. I don't want to cause a problem if I
Yeah.
don't have a problem.
Sure.
So I've always stuck with the index style, wrist strap type release.
Nice. Okay. Um, and then are you, I guess there's different schools of thought too. Some guys are like, go out and shoot 1 to 3 arrows and make them perfect if you can, or like kind of how I grew up was just go out and shoot as much as you possibly can. How do you practice if you're going to be putting a practice session in?
It depends on how long it's been since I shot.
Yeah.
If I'm a couple months before season, I'll shoot a fair amount and get my muscles worked and fatigued a little bit. But if I start feeling fatigue or I start getting shaky at full draw, I'll hang it up for the day just because that's when bad habits can start to develop.
Mm.
You definitely don't want to overdo it. And then when I get closer to game time with hunting season coming up,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just shoot like 3 arrows a day
Yeah.
and just shoot 1, 2, or 3 and just see how that's going. But I don't like long practice sessions. If I shoot 12 or 15 times a day, that's plenty. You can definitely overshoot for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Any other just like general bow hunting tips?
Yeah, no, I mean, with archery, it's so easy to overthink things.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys, it's kind of weird to say, but you'll try too hard. I see that in beginners. They want to be successful and
Mm-hmm.
they just don't have the experience and they're trying so hard and hiking so hard and that usually doesn't pay off. It can pay off, but you just got to relax a little bit and believe in the system or believe in the program that you're doing, and that comes with experience. That's the tough thing. And
Yeah.
I do these seminars and stuff hoping to help people with elk hunting or just bow hunting out west. And I can sit here and tell you what you need to do, but you don't really learn until you go do it for yourself and you fail
Totally.
or you succeed. And it just takes a lot of failure. I mean, when I was a teenager, I didn't kill a bull elk with my bow until my 5th year.
Hmm.
into hunting elk with a bow. And I mean, I did hunt Western Montana. There's lower elk densities and it was tough and yada, yada, but it's not something that's going to come quickly for you unless, you have some really good hunting, then, it probably will come quickly. And I never did have great hunting growing up.
Yeah.
But it's just all experience. And I would say the biggest thing for me is the guiding that I did out of college. Mm-hmm. That really got me, a lifetime's worth of elk hunting experience in just a few years, because, I would be on 12. One year I did 12 bull elk hunts, successful bull elk hunts a year.
Wow.
And so that's months in the field, observing elk, seeing what they do, seeing how they act.
Yeah.
And
it's priceless.
It is. It's absolutely priceless. And it just comes down to, if you really want to get good at something, you just have to spend the time and make the sacrifices. That's kind of part of it. But
for sure, man.
Slower is faster. Patience kills the buck. Don't overthink things. I guess that would be kind of my 30,000 foot level to bow hunting on what I could tell you.
No, that's good stuff, man. So I know we got tag season coming up here. You got anything in the works or anything planned you're excited about for next year, or are you still kind of looking at that?
Yeah, still kind of looking. I'm still crying in my soup a little bit. I didn't get an Idaho elk tag.
Oh, you didn't? Were you in that insane line online?
Yeah, it's my own fault. I was like 25 minutes late, and I was 24,000 in line. And
I think I was 23,000.
No kidding.
Or no, maybe I was 13,000. I don't remember. I picked up a deer tag and an elk tag because they were concurrent in the Frank Church.
Nice. Yep. Okay.
Have you ever hunted in there?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, I haven't. I mean, I should say there were still tags available.
Just not the one you wanted
in the system. Yeah, in the system, but not even close to the ones I wanted. I mean, I could have got a panhandle tag up north, but
yeah.
If it's like that, I mean, I'll go to Colorado. If I'm going to go to another single digit unit, I did that this year in Idaho. Same thing happened to me last year, and it was single digit success rates. And the hunting reminded me of the crappy hunting that I grew up doing in Western Montana. So it's just so low success. I did find elk and shot a bull, but it was really difficult. So yeah, probably Colorado. There's always a general in Wyoming that I can hunt if I don't draw. And I'm really looking at, I want to get to Alaska this year for either caribou or blacktail.
Yeah, I had to push our podcast back an hour because I was trying, to get into 40 Mile Air. It took me 45 minutes, over 200 calls, and I finally got in, and I'm on the wait list.
No kidding.
Have you ever flown with 40 or tried to get in with them?
No, I haven't. No.
So they open their phone lines on first they take a week of return customers only for booking. And then they open their phone lines on one day and they sell out in 30 minutes.
Golly.
It was like calling into a radio show back in the day, trying to get win tickets or something. It's basically the phone version of the Idaho madness to get a tag. But, so you're thinking about what, August for Alaska or what?
Yeah, that or around Halloween for deer.
Okay. What? Kodiak maybe?
Yeah, maybe Kodiak. I got some friends out of Wrangell that I would go with.
Cool.
I did try to hunt Prince of Wales 4 years ago in August, and we got rained out. We didn't even get a go.
Oh, man.
We got so much rain, landslides, and all that jazz. So we ended up just fishing the whole time, which was still fun. But,
yeah, we did Kodiak in August this year. An alpine hunt. It was sick, man. Have you done it in August yet?
No, not on Kodiak. No.
Oh man, it was really cool. It was like a poor man's sheep hunt almost. We were in goat country, and we ended up we killed 3 bucks. My buddy shot a I think it netted 107.
Whoa.
Yeah, he got in the book and everything.
Wow. Giant.
And I filmed the whole thing. I got the whole thing on camera. It was cool, man. I would recommend that hunt for sure. But 2 years ago, I ate tag soup on caribou, so I think I'm going to try caribou this year.
Nice. Heck yeah. I still don't know what to do with that because, with caribou, I mean, the best time is in September, but I'd rather hunt elk. And
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
is that you say the best time in September because they're rutting and they're hard horned, or what?
yes, exactly. I don't really want a velvet caribou. I don't know. I
Yeah.
still would hunt them 100%. I would rather have a hard horned with,
Yeah.
like a big white mane.
Yeah, the big wizard mane thing they
Yeah,
got going.
exactly.
Yeah. No,
But
I'm with you there, but I heard the meat is awful once they start rutting. Have you heard that?
yeah, I
Is that
have.
true?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard the same thing about moose.
Yeah, I
That
mean, there's always. I feel like every game animal, there's always somebody like, "Oh, it's awful." But like, if you,
exactly.
in my experience, if you treat the meat right and you cook it right, it's good no matter what. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I think there's certain animals that can be bad, but I think as a whole, most people don't really know how to take care of the meat. And
Totally.
I mean, when I went moose hunting in British Columbia, hunting moose during the rut, the peak of the rut, they're like, oh yeah, by September 15th, those moose they start drinking, cow pee and their own pee and this and
I
that.
heard that about caribou too.
Yeah, and yeah, I've heard that with caribou as well. But my moose was rutted up, stunk up. He was gored up. He had all these pus pockets on him.
Yeah.
And if any bull was drinking pee, it was him. And and he was great. I mean, the meat was fantastic. So I have heard that with caribou that they can get the same way. I don't have any firsthand experience, but
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I think most of that's just garbage, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Well,
for
that's
sure.
cool, man. Yeah, I hope to get up there too. That's Alaska's amazing. When was the last time you were up there?
It's been since 16 or 17, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's been a few years for sure.
Cool, man. Yeah, we went. We did a walk-in caribou hunt 2 years ago, and had a couple successful stalks, meaning we stalked into rifle range, but they were smaller bulls, and we just weren't 100% sure they were not cows, so we
Yep.
didn't shoot. And yeah, it was tough, but it was a really awesome trip, life-changing trip. And then last year we did Kodiak. That was really fun. But I still need to get my caribou.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's one of the animals too that I've always wanted to hunt.
Would you be
uh,
looking at flying in or walking in or?
yeah, probably. I'm guessing probably the walk-in hunt like what you're talking, the archery deal, and
Yeah, up on the
yeah,
haul road or something.
yeah, and just hitting it hard and seeing what
Oh yeah, because
happens.
if you're bow hunting, you can hunt right off the road. But if you're rifle, you got to be 5 miles, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool, man.
So yeah, I'm looking at that. I got some friends up there that have a truck, and so logistically, it'd be the easiest one to do if I can't get flights figured out, like what you're
Yeah.
talking, because I know that's been a bugger up there the last few years. So
Yeah. Well, air transport, they're expensive too.
yeah,
There are other good ones that are not so hard. It's just 40 Mile in particular is just almost impossible. Just they have like the best reputation, and they're just kind of the one everybody wants to get with. So I always try, but I've never successfully gotten with them. But there are other good air transporters up there.
yeah, no, that's what I've heard too. I mean, I've heard that 40 mile, and that's the thing is, I think what did your flights to Kodiak cost you? It's like $3,500, isn't it?
The bush flight or the commercial?
I guess like a bush flight.
No, dude, it's cheaper than caribou. It's like half. It's like $1,500.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
So you fly commercial to Kodiak?
You fly commercial to Kodiak, which was 800 or something. So we got it well in advance.
Yep.
And then we flew with Seahawk Air. He's one of the most experienced dudes there is. Brad Brooks from Argali. Do you know him? Anyway, it doesn't
No, I
matter.
don't think so.
He was flying out the same day. We saw anyway, but he flew with Island Air. They're really good too. But yeah, I mean, what's the dude's name? Roland at Seahawk. I think it was like $1,500, and you know, he was really cool too. He flew us probably around like 5 or 6 different lakes and let us pick which one we wanted to go to.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and it was awesome, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool hunt.
I need to get up there and do it. And
yeah, Brad, he shot 3 with his bow. Like it's yeah, it's we were rifle hunting and we got one like the first full day, and then some like weather moved in and the bucks disappeared for 4 days. And the last morning, me and my buddy got a double. Like he shot his, jumped over, I jumped on the pack, I shot mine like 30 seconds apart, got the whole thing on camera on the last day. Yeah, it was pretty crazy the way it worked out, but awesome. I would definitely recommend that hunt.
I would love to do it with a bow, and I've always wanted to hunt them during the rut too, when they're all swelled up, big old double throat patch and black forehead, and man, they're such a cool looking animal. I mean, probably the coolest deer.
They are, yeah. And just where we were, it was like Jurassic Park up there, man. Like just green and salmon berries everywhere, grizzlies running around everywhere. Really cool.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, man. Well, anyway, dude, it was good talking to you. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I appreciate you jumping on with me. Are you guys going to be at Hunt Expo?
Yep. Company will be down there.
Cool. I'm planning on going out there, so maybe we can link up and I'll say what's up.
Good. Yeah. Heck yeah. No, absolutely. It sounds good.
Cool, man. Well, let people know where they can find you and Beyond the Grid, because I know you guys got some really awesome hunts on YouTube and different stuff. Where can people find you guys? Yeah,
so we're on all social media platforms, Beyond the Grid TV, and YouTube, of course, on the Eastman's Hunting Journal's YouTube channel. It's called Beyond the Grid. We do a little bit of everything, a lot of elk and mule deer and whatever comes across their plate. So give us a follow, give us a watch, especially public land stuff. I strive to always do hunts that the average guy can go do, because that's what I grew up doing. So we have a lot of fun with it and work hard at it too. So yeah, man, that's awesome. I know you guys got some really good stuff. So I've been watching some of it. So well, thanks again for your time, man. Hopefully we can link up this February, and appreciate you. Heck yeah, sounds good. Let me know if you need anything.
All right, brother. Thanks.
Yep, you bet.
All right, have a good one.